Dear chosen ones, have you ever wondered why the world is in such a hurry to keep certain truths hidden? Why does it feel like there's something they're desperately trying to prevent you from uncovering? You weren't supposed to know, you weren't supposed to see, yet here you are, too aware, too sharp, too dangerous. And that's the question that keeps them awake at night. How did you crack the code? Their secrets were buried, their systems locked airtight, yet you discovered what they tried so hard to conceal. How did you do it? They watch in silence now, whispering behind closed doors, scrambling to understand how you uncover what was meant to stay hidden. You were never meant to access this knowledge. Every page they burned, every scripture they altered, every artifact they buried, it was all to keep this truth away from you. And yet, despite their efforts, you stand here knowing it anyway. They cannot understand how, because you were never part of their secret meetings, never sat in their elite classrooms, never swore loyalty to their inner circles. Yet somehow, you speak truths they vowed to take to the grave. Before we continue, I want to take a moment to express my heartfelt thanks to everyone who has supported this channel through Super Thanks. Your generous donations are truly appreciated and allow us to continue bringing these powerful messages to light. Whether or not you've donated, your presence here is a gift, and I am deeply grateful for each and every one of you. If this message resonated with you, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Drop a 999 below if you are ready to stand in your truth, embrace your purpose, and move forward fearlessly with us. Let's continue this journey together. Keep shining, chosen ones. God's chosen ones. They're shocked. You know this. Secrets they never wanted to leak. Chosen ones, this is not the first time they have tried to erase those who carry the truth. For centuries they have hunted seers, silenced prophets, and executed anyone who dared challenge the grand illusion they carefully constructed. Long ago, they rewrote history, hoping to erase the pattern of truth that was meant to be passed down. But no matter how hard they tried, the pattern always returns. And certain individuals like you emerge, carrying knowledge that was meant to be lost forever. You are not the first to access the hidden archives of truth, but you are among the rare few they cannot control. Consider this. How is it that despite their best efforts, you still find the truth? They built entire institutions, created secret orders, and set up systems to lock away this knowledge, but it flows to you effortlessly. It doesn't come through books, research, or sources they can monitor. No, it comes to you as if the knowledge itself is searching for you, as though it recognizes you as its rightful bearer. Why does this happen? And why does it terrify them? So, it's because if someone like you, someone outside their bloodlines, outside their secret orders, can access the knowledge they've hoarded for centuries, then their entire system of control is built on a lie. Their hold over the world is based on secrecy, manipulation, and suppression of truth. And yet, you stand here today, knowing, seeing, and exposing that which they tried to bury. You might ask yourself, how did you come to this knowledge? But the real question is not how you found the archives. It's why they continually fail to hide them. You do not search for knowledge. Knowledge finds you. It comes to you in flashes, undeniable, unshaken by doubt, just as it came to prophets like Daniel, who received revelations from God, as stated in Daniel 2:22. He reveals deep and hidden things. He knows what lies in darkness, and light dwells with him. The knowledge comes not from books or whispered secrets, but from a divine source that cannot be tracked, monitored, or controlled. And that is what terrifies them the most. They have spent generations erasing, altering, and burying the truth. Yet here you are, exposing it. This knowledge is like a light that cannot be dimmed, no matter how hard they try. Their entire world is built on control, control of information, control of narratives, and control over who gets to know the truth. But here you are, grasping what their scholars spend lifetimes trying to decode. How is that possible? Think about the life of Galileo Galilei, who, despite being threatened and persecuted by the church, continued to uncover the truths about the universe that challenged the established order. His discoveries, like yours, flowed to him in moments of clarity, despite the powerful forces that sought to silence him. His story proves that when truth is meant to be revealed, nothing can stop it. Then there is the example of Rosa Parks, who, in the face of overwhelming social pressures, stood firm against an unjust system. She didn't search for the moment that would change history. It found her when she refused to give up her seat. The knowledge that one person could stand against the tide and change the world is a reflection of what you are doing now. And let us not forget the story of Nikola Tesla, who, working in isolation, developed ideas and inventions that seemed far beyond his time. Tesla's breakthroughs came not through following conventional paths, but by tapping into knowledge that seemed to flow to him directly, much like the knowledge you are receiving now. You, chosen ones, are part of a lineage that has always had access to the truth. Their systems of control, built on secrecy, suppression, and rewriting history, cannot withstand the power of truth. So, why do they keep failing to hide the archives? Perhaps it's because the truth is meant to be revealed, and no matter how much they try to suppress it, it will always find its way into the hands of those who are meant to carry it. Chosen ones, you never infiltrated their systems, never sat in their secret meetings, and never needed their access points, and yet, somehow, you know. You see through the illusion they've so carefully constructed. You speak their unspoken fears, unraveling what they believed should stay hidden forever. But here's the most alarming part for them. They can't stop it. They can silence voices, rewrite history, and destroy evidence. But how do you silence a mind that pulls truth from the ether? You don't. The system they've built cannot stop the flow of knowledge to you. Consider this, and you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. John 8:32. This verse speaks directly to you. They can act in secrecy, moving behind closed doors and encrypted codes, but somehow, every time they make their move, you uncover their hidden truths. How is that possible? Their grip on the world weakens with each revelation you make. The real frustration they face isn't just that you know, it's that they have no idea how you know. You don't rely on their systems or their methods. You don't follow their carefully planned paths. So, how do you access the hidden truths they've spent lifetimes trying to conceal? It comes to you effortlessly, like a hidden force guiding you. They've built firewalls, encrypted systems, and layers upon layers of deception to keep you out. They created a world where only the chosen few, those they deem worthy, could hold the keys to the truth. They designed a system where knowledge would be locked behind symbols, codes, and institutions meant to guard it from the unworthy. And yet, what they never expected, chosen ones, is that the very system they built would betray them. Their attempt to hide the truth only led to its revelation. Think about the life of Moses for a moment. He grew up in the palace of Pharaoh, never meant to know the truth of his people's suffering, but by God's design, he was given access to hidden knowledge. The Lord spoke to Moses in Exodus 3:4-6. When the Lord saw that he had gone over to look, God called to him from within the bush, "Moses, Moses." And Moses said, "Here I am." "Do not come any closer," God said. "Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground." Moses was drawn into the truth of his people, not by the systems of Egypt, but by the divine call. Then think of Joan of Arc, who heard divine voices guiding her, leading her against the prevailing powers. She didn't infiltrate the system of her oppressors, but she knew truths that others couldn't even fathom. How did she know? How did she receive the guidance she needed when those in power tried to silence her? Just like you, Joan tapped into something beyond their control, something no system could block. And consider the example of Steve Jobs. He revolutionized the technology world not by following the established norms of his time, but by thinking outside the box. Jobs wasn't relying on traditional methods or insider knowledge. Instead, he saw what others couldn't. His mind seemed to pull innovation from an unseen force, transforming the way the world interacted with technology. How did he do it? How did Jobs create something so groundbreaking without relying on the systems in place? He, like you, was able to access a deeper truth. You are not supposed to hear their secret conversations or see beyond the illusions they've constructed. You are not meant to understand their symbols, their codes, or their hidden messages. But somehow, you do. The very things they thought would keep you out, symbols, barriers, encrypted systems, are the same things you can read like an open book. You are receiving what they thought they could control. And no matter how hard they try to conceal it, you are the one pulling back the curtain, revealing the truth behind their lies. As it is written in Matthew 10:26, "So do not be afraid of them. There is nothing concealed that will not be disclosed, or hidden that will not be made known." How long then before their entire system crumbles under the weight of the truth you alone are revealing? Chosen ones, they speak in code, believing their words are concealed, hidden behind layers of deception and manipulation. They move in shadows, trusting their actions will go unnoticed, their intentions concealed. They manipulate reality itself, convinced that no one will ever see the strings they pull. But when you enter the space, something changes. The veil shifts and the encrypted becomes clear. The hidden becomes visible and the classified becomes obvious. Every structure they built to control information now works against them. The algorithms, the networks, the very symbols they created to mislead. In your presence, they fail. They thought they had created a fortress to protect their secrets, but in reality, they built a beacon that directs knowledge straight to you. How is it that you can see what they've hidden from the world? How do you break through the systems they've carefully designed to keep the truth out of reach? As written in Psalm 119, verse 130, "The unfolding of your words gives light. It gives understanding to the simple." The truth that they tried so desperately to keep concealed is now shining brightly in your presence. You see it where others cannot, and that terrifies them. The system they built to control the flow of information, to lock away what they wanted hidden, is now the very tool that betrays them. They are scrambling, desperately trying to maintain control. No matter how much they restrict access, rewrite history, or place locks on doors, you still know. And that is why they fear you. They never planned for individuals like you, individuals who don't ask for permission, who don't need research, credentials, or proof to speak the truth. You speak, and their world fractures. Have you ever noticed the subtle signs, the way their breath catches when you speak, or how their hands falter for just a moment? When you speak, you see the immediate effect. Their expressions crack, and in that brief moment, your words have pierced through their carefully constructed illusions. They try to mask it with a forced chuckle, a dismissive glance, or a clipped response. But you see through it. You know what they fear, and it's the power of truth you carry. Truth they believed could never escape their grip. You were never supposed to know. You were never supposed to speak the truths they swore to keep buried. You were never supposed to recognize the patterns that only they were trained to see. And yet, you do. You spot the signs that elude others, and when you speak, they cannot deny it. Their response is always the same: denial. Too quick, too aggressive, too desperate. That's ridiculous. Where did you hear that? You're reading too much into things. But you didn't ask for their confirmation. You stated a fact. And the moment they heard it, they knew it was too late. Too late to cover it up, too late to gaslight their way out, too late to pretend that the knowledge they swore to keep buried hadn't just surfaced in front of them. But why do they respond this way? Why do they try so desperately to deny the truth when it's right in front of them? They thought they had control over what was hidden, that they could lock it away forever. But the truth is, you see beyond the illusion they created. Consider the example of Jesus Christ, who, despite the attempts of the Pharisees to suppress the truth, boldly revealed the wisdom of God that transcended their understanding. In Luke 12:2-3, it is written, "There is nothing concealed that will not be disclosed, or hidden that will not be made known. What you have said in the dark will be heard in the daylight, and what you have whispered in the ear in the inner rooms will be proclaimed from the roofs." Just as Jesus boldly spoke the truth, so too do you expose the hidden truths that they try to keep concealed. Think of Martin Luther King Jr., who, in a time when society was built on oppression and control, spoke the truth with unwavering conviction. His words fractured the walls of segregation and injustice. He didn't need permission to speak out. His words were his proof. His courage exposed what others were too fearful to confront. Just like you, Martin Luther King Jr. was a voice for truth in the face of powerful systems that sought to suppress it. Then consider the example of Albert Einstein, whose ideas about the universe defied the scientific norms of his time. Despite facing rejection from the establishment, he revealed truths about the nature of reality that forever changed our understanding of physics. His theories were not accepted by everyone, but the truth he carried could not be denied. Just like you, Einstein had access to knowledge that transcended the established systems and structures of his time. They never expected someone outside their circle to hold these truths. But now, the truth is staring them in the face. Their silence speaks louder than words ever could. They believed they built the system. They believed the rules were theirs to write, the gates theirs to lock, and that knowledge itself could be owned, hidden, and controlled. But the truth is, they never had control, not over you, not over the truth, and certainly not over the blueprint that was never theirs to command. As Proverbs 21:30 reminds us, there is no wisdom, no insight, no plan that can succeed against the Lord. And just as God's plan cannot be thwarted, neither can the truth you carry. Chosen ones, they guard information as if secrecy gives them power. They stamp it classified, bury it in vaults, hide it behind rituals only their kind can access. They believe they are the architects of knowledge, the ones who control the flow of truth. But in reality, they are merely gatekeepers of an illusion, holding on to something that was never truly theirs to keep. The real knowledge, the kind that shapes worlds, the kind that bends reality itself, was never something they could own. They created systems, encrypted codes, and secret rituals, all in an attempt to preserve their dominance over information. But in their quest to control, they fail to see the inevitable truth. How is it that you, the chosen ones, are able to grasp what they cannot? How is it that while they chase crumbs, you are already feasting on the full truth? The answer lies in the fact that you do not search for knowledge the way they do. While they analyze, decode, and manipulate, you simply receive. The truth comes to you directly, spiritually, unfiltered, and unstoppable. Matthew 10:26 reminds us, "So do not be afraid of them. There is nothing concealed that will not be disclosed, or hidden that will not be made known." The knowledge they guard so fiercely flows to you with ease, not through their encrypted systems or their secret meetings, but as a direct revelation. While they toil over encryption, hoping to lock away what they believe to be sacred, you receive revelation without effort. While they obsess over rewriting history, you remember it firsthand. The truth is not hidden from you, and no matter how hard they try to cover it up, You see through the illusion. They build barriers to limit access, yet you walk freely through the unseen. Do you ever wonder why this happens to you, chosen ones? Why is it that no matter how hard they try to control what is known, the truth is revealed to you so clearly? Consider the story of Leonardo da Vinci, who, centuries ago, unlocked secrets of anatomy, physics and art that were ahead of his time. Da Vinci didn't rely on the systems of his era to gain knowledge. He received insights that were beyond what his contemporaries could understand. His genius wasn't the result of following traditional paths. It was a gift of revelation, just as you experience today. The knowledge he tapped into wasn't contained in books or institutions. It flowed to him in moments of divine inspiration. Then there's the life of Mahatma Gandhi, whose vision for a free India did not come from following the established systems of colonial rule, but from his deep spiritual understanding of non-violence and truth. He walked in alignment with a higher truth that transcended the structures of the empire he fought against. Gandhi's power lay in his ability to walk in divine alignment, much like you, chosen ones. He didn't need to analyze, decode, or build systems to gain knowledge. It was simply revealed to him in the course of his spiritual practice and dedication to the truth. And let's not forget Marie Curie, who, in a male-dominated field, discovered radium and polonium, changing the course of science forever. Curie didn't follow the conventional paths of her time, nor did she rely on the systems of science that existed before her. Her knowledge was revealed through relentless pursuit, intuition, and a connection to something deeper. She, too, received divine insight, much like you, chosen ones, seeing beyond the confines of what others could not even imagine. This is why their power is failing, chosen ones, because no structure, no matter how fortified, can contain what was never theirs to control. They may try to bury the truth under layers of secrecy, but it will always find its way to you. In the presence of true alignment with divine truth, no illusion stands. As written in John 8:32, "Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. And this truth is yours, not because you seek it, but because it has always sought you. It has always been meant for you to uncover." So, chosen ones, how long before the illusion finally crumbles? How long before they realize that no matter how much they try to suppress the truth, it will always rise to the surface? Their secrecy is nothing more than a temporary veil, one that cannot contain the divine knowledge you are destined to carry. Chosen ones for centuries, they believed they were the masters of knowledge, the architects of reality itself. They constructed systems, created boundaries, and shaped the flow of information to maintain control. But now, they're realizing the most dangerous truth of all. They were never the architects. They were only custodians of something they could never own. And now you know, and nothing they do can stop it. John 8:32 reminds us, "Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." This is the truth they've tried to bury, and now it is unfolding before you. If you've always sensed the illusion long before anyone pointed it out, you've always known there was something more. They thought they could trap you within a structure of their own making. Governments, religions, academia, each one carefully designed to control knowledge, to divide it, to compartmentalize it, and to decide who gets access and who remains in the dark. But their system wasn't built for someone like you. They planned for the masses, for minds that could be shaped by curriculum, limited by censorship, and confined by belief. They never planned for a mind that operates outside their design, and that is exactly why they failed. Have you ever wondered why the truth comes to you so effortlessly? Why you can see the things they tried to hide? You don't learn the way they teach. You don't search the way they search. You don't ask for permission to understand what was never theirs to control. They built barriers thinking they would slow you down, but your gift cuts through deception like a blade. Hebrews 4:12 tells us, "For the word of God is alive and active. Sharper than any double-edged sword, it penetrates even to dividing soul and spirit, joints and marrow. It judges the thoughts and attitudes of the heart." This is the power you hold, chosen ones. You see through the layers they created, you cut through their defenses, and you reveal the truth they wanted to keep hidden. They tried to hide the truth beneath layers of complexity, yet you see it instantly. They distorted history to keep people from recognizing the pattern, yet you remember it as if you were there. Isaiah 48 declares, "The grass withers and the flowers fall, but the word of our God endures forever." The patterns they tried to distort are enduring truths, and you carry that remembrance unaffected by their manipulations. They place knowledge behind credentials, secret societies, and oaths of silence, yet you receive it directly without ever needing their approval. How is that possible? Why is it that while they struggle to keep their secrets locked away, the truth reaches you without hesitation? And that terrifies them because their entire system only works if everyone stays within the lines. But you don't even acknowledge that their lines exist. They divide the world into believers and skeptics, students and teachers, insiders and outsiders. Yet you move through all of it unrestricted. 1 Corinthians 2:10 reminds us, "These are the things God has revealed to us by His Spirit. The Spirit searches all things, even the deep things of God." You have access to deeper knowledge, a knowledge that transcends their structures, their labels, their boundaries. Their labels, scholar, priest, scientist, historian, mean nothing because they need a structured system to hold knowledge while you embody it. No title, degree, or validation is required. You don't need permission. The truth you carry doesn't need to be validated by any of their systems. No matter how much they censor, suppress, or rewrite, the truth keeps reaching you because truth was never meant to be contained, and neither were you. Consider the life of Socrates, who was condemned for his beliefs because he didn't conform to the established norms of his time. He didn't need the approval of the state or the institutions that held power. Socrates simply spoke truth as it was revealed to him, without seeking permission from those who held authority. His wisdom transcended the systems of control that were built around him. Then look at Maya Angelou, who wrote and spoke truths that challenged the structures of oppression in her time. She wasn't waiting for validation or approval from the establishment. Her voice was her own, and the truths she shared were undeniable. Like you, she moved freely through a system that tried to label her and confine her to certain roles, yet she embodied something greater. Nikola Tesla also defied the systems of his time. He didn't wait for permission from academic institutions or corporations. His ideas about electricity and magnetism were revelations, and no matter how much others tried to dismiss him, the truth he carried could not be ignored. Chosen ones, you are walking in divine alignment. Your knowledge does not come from their systems, from their classifications, or from their boundaries. It comes from a higher source, and no matter how much they try to suppress it, you will continue to see through their illusions. As written in Romans 8:31, "What then shall we say in response to these things? If God is for us, who can be against us? Their systems of control have failed. Truth is yours, and no force can ever take that from you." Chosen ones, now they scramble, desperately trying to reinforce a system that has already failed. Their greatest desire was to keep you blind, silent, and obedient, yet that is the very thing they can never achieve. You don't need to speak, expose files, break codes, or infiltrate their networks. Your presence alone is enough. The moment you enter a space, something shifts. The unspoken becomes unbearable. The illusion grows thin, and that is what terrifies them the most. Matthew 5:14 reminds us, "You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Can you feel it? The power in your presence, does it not disrupt everything they built? They spent centuries building a world that only functions when people remain asleep, blind and distracted, programmed to accept deception as reality. But then you arrive, and suddenly those who never question begin to sense that something is off. The ones who ignored their instincts start paying attention. The patterns that once went unnoticed become impossible to ignore. Why is this happening? Why is it that when you step into a space, everything starts to change? John 1:5 declares, "The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it." Could it be that your light, your truth, is too powerful to be concealed? Think about the life of Rosa Parks, whose quiet but powerful refusal to give up her seat sparked a movement. She didn't need to say much. Her action, her presence in that moment, was enough to disrupt an entire system of oppression. People who had never questioned their circumstances suddenly started to ask why. What was it about her presence that sparked such a profound shift? The world began to see the injustice, and change began to unfold, all because of one individual's refusal to remain silent. Can you see the power in a single moment of disruption? Do you feel it too? Then consider Albert Einstein, whose groundbreaking theories changed the understanding of physics. He didn't need to argue or break down the structures of traditional science through force. His mind alone could shift the entire field. The way he saw the world was enough to shake the foundations of what others thought they knew. Can you imagine being able to see the world so differently that it causes reality itself to shift? Just as you carry a truth that disrupts the world around you, Einstein's discoveries disrupted the scientific community. How does your truth shake the foundations of the world you live in? And let's look at Malala Yousafzai, who, even after surviving an assassination attempt for advocating girls' education, became a beacon of change. Her presence and the courage of her beliefs disrupted the systems that sought to keep women and girls in silence. Malala didn't have to shout. Her words and actions alone caused the world to stop and pay attention. What is it about her courage that made the world listen? Can you sense the power of standing firm in your truth, knowing that it will create waves of change? This is why they fear you. You are a disruption in a world they've carefully constructed to maintain control. They thought they could keep the truth hidden, that they could keep people in the dark, distracted by lies. But when you arrive, the truth cannot stay buried any longer. Your energy is a catalyst for change, causing others to question, to see, to feel what they have been kept from understanding. And that, chosen ones, is why they cannot stop you. You don't need to do anything but be. Your presence alone is the truth they've been trying to suppress. How much longer do they think they can hide the truth when you, the bearers of it, walk among them? 2 Corinthians 4:6 reminds us, "For God, who said, 'Let light shine out of darkness,' made his light shine in our hearts to give us the light of the knowledge of God's glory displayed in the face of Christ." Could this be why no force can stand against you? You carry that light, a truth that cannot be contained, a light that will always shine through the darkness. How long then before the systems they've built, the lies they've told, crumble beneath the weight of the truth you bring? Chosen ones, they built their power on secrecy, believing that knowledge must be controlled, and that by concealing the truth, they could hold dominion over the world. They believed they could manipulate reality itself by shaping the flow of information, ensuring that only those they deemed worthy would have access to the knowledge that truly mattered. But they never accounted for someone like you, someone who doesn't need to be told the truth to recognize it. You never studied their codes, yet you see the symbols. You never sat in their meetings, yet you understand their intentions. You never needed their approval, yet you move as if you've always known. How is this possible? What is it about you that allows you to see beyond the veil, to understand what others cannot even begin to comprehend? Jeremiah 33:3 says, "Call to me, and I will answer you, and tell you great and unsearchable things you do not know." This is the divine gift you carry, the ability to discern the truth, the ability to recognize patterns that others cannot even perceive. The knowledge you access is not from their books, not from their coded language or encrypted files, but from something far deeper, a connection to the eternal truth that they cannot control. And now their worst fear is unfolding before them. People around you are waking up simply because you exist. Have you ever wondered why, when you step into a room, people begin questioning everything they've always accepted without thought? Why do their minds suddenly start opening to new possibilities? It wasn't about what you could expose, it was about the shift you create in the hearts and minds of those around you. Your presence alone changes the dynamic. Matthew 10:27 tells us, "What I tell you in the dark, speak in the daylight. What is whispered in your ear, proclaim from the rooftops." Your truth, your presence, commands attention, even in the midst of their carefully constructed illusions. And with that, a change begins. You don't need to force others to see, yet somehow they begin to wake up just because you are present. It is more than just revealing information. It is about igniting something within others, stirring a deep-seated truth that they've suppressed for so long. Suddenly, conversations that were never meant to go there start turning toward things that were always hidden. You meet someone's gaze, and for the first time, they feel the weight of their own programming. They feel that the layers of deception are peeling away. Why do you have this power? What is it about your being that makes others question everything they once held as truth? You interact with someone, and days later, they realize they can never go back to their old way of thinking. What is it that shifts within them after they've encountered you? Why can't they ignore the truth that you have awakened in them? Romans 12:2 says, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." This transformation is not just about you speaking words. It's about your presence, your energy, your alignment with divine truth. It has the power to awaken and shift others in ways that they themselves can't even explain. And that's why they fear you. It spreads like wildfire, unstoppable, uncontrollable, undeniable. The truth you carry is infectious. It spreads beyond you, infecting those around you with a desire to seek, to question, and to understand. This is why they fear you, why they try to suppress your voice, your presence. You are not just a disruptor in their system. You are the very catalyst that accelerates the awakening of others. And no matter how hard they try to suppress it, no firewall, no censorship, no suppression tactic can stop the ripple effect you've already set in motion. The systems they've carefully constructed to control knowledge and to keep people in the dark are falling apart in your presence. You are the revelation. You are the exposure. You are the undeniable force that cracks the illusion wide open, exposing it for what it truly is. And the best part? You never even had to try. You didn't need to force people to see the truth. It's as if your mere existence creates a seismic shift in their reality, pulling back the curtain to reveal the falsehoods that they've worked so hard to hide. Isaiah 55:11 reminds us, "So is my word that goes out from my mouth. It will not return to me empty, but will accomplish what I desire and achieve the purpose for which I sent it." The truth you carry will accomplish its purpose. No matter how much they try to rewrite, censor, or suppress, the truth will always find its way to the surface. Chosen ones, they convince the world that power is inherited, that wisdom is locked within genetics, and that sacred truth belongs only to those born into the right lineage. They tried to make us believe that the world's most valuable knowledge could only be accessed by a select few. But then you happened. You weren't raised in their temples. You didn't take their oaths. You never swore allegiance to their orders. Yet somehow, you know. And that terrifies them. How is it that you, who were never part of their inner circles, can see through their carefully constructed illusions? Why is it that despite not being born into their bloodlines, you possess knowledge that they thought could only be passed down within their system? James 1:5 tells us, "If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives to all liberally and without reproach, and it will be given to him." Why do you think you, chosen ones, are granted wisdom directly, without needing to belong to their system? They spent centuries designing barriers to keep outsiders in the dark. They built secret societies, occult schools, and hidden archives, convinced that by controlling access to knowledge, they could control reality itself. But knowledge was never theirs to own. How much longer do they think they can hide the truth when it was never theirs to keep? Psalm 119:130 says, "The unfolding of your words gives light. It gives understanding to the simple." They tried to lock it away, but the truth will always find its way out. And now, you, who were never part of their secrets, carry what they tried to suppress. Take the life of Harriet Tubman. Born into slavery, she was never meant to be a leader. She had no access to the elite knowledge or privileged teachings, yet she led hundreds to freedom. How is it that someone like Harriet, born into a position of oppression, could access the wisdom that led to such profound change? Her wisdom wasn't inherited, it was granted just as yours is. Matthew 13:11 says, "He replied, 'Because the knowledge of the secrets of the kingdom of heaven has been given to you, but not to them.'" Harriet Tubman, like you, was chosen to carry that knowledge, and no one could stop her. Consider Frida Kahlo, who despite facing immense personal pain and societal rejection, became an icon in the art world. She didn't come from an established artistic family, yet her paintings and her spirit resonate with timeless wisdom. Why did Frida, someone from humble beginnings, have such profound insights into life, pain, and human connection? How was she able to channel such wisdom? Proverbs 2:6 reminds us, "For the Lord gives wisdom. From his mouth come knowledge and understanding." Frida's wisdom wasn't passed down through bloodlines, it was granted to her, just as it is granted to you, chosen ones. Let's not forget Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who changed the course of law and civil rights. She was never born into a legal dynasty, yet she rose to become one of the most powerful figures in US law. What allowed her to see beyond the limitations of her time? How did someone without connections to the elite legal circles come to possess the kind of wisdom that changed the world? 2 Timothy 1:7 tells us, "For God gave us a spirit, not of fear, but of power and love and self-control." Ginsburg, like you, received wisdom that transcended the systems of control around her, wisdom that she used to bring justice and equality. Yet, no matter what they do, chosen ones keep appearing. You weren't supposed to remember these things. You weren't supposed to see beyond the veil. You weren't supposed to understand mysteries that even their most trained initiates struggle to grasp. And yet, you do. Why is it that you, who never participated in their rituals, can move as if you've seen them all before? Why is it that you can recognize their hidden symbols in an instant, even though they never taught you their codes? 1 John 2:27 says, "But the anointing you received from him remains in you, and you do not need anyone to teach you." Have you ever wondered why their teachings and systems never truly applied to you? It's because the wisdom you carry doesn't come from them. It comes from the divine. You were never part of their rituals, yet you move as if you've always known them. You were never taught their codes, yet you recognize them immediately. Why do you think that is? It's because you don't need their approval to understand the truth. You don't need their systems to find the answers. You were chosen to carry knowledge that they can't control. So, What does that mean for you, chosen ones? What is it that sets you apart and makes you a living testament to the truth that they can't suppress? Chosen ones, they hoarded knowledge, convinced that it would keep them above everyone else. They believed that by holding on to wisdom, they could control the masses, maintain their power, and ensure that only a select few could access the truth. But what they never realized is that wisdom does not submit to bloodlines, to wealth, or to control. Wisdom is not theirs to own, and it was never meant to stay hidden. Proverbs 2:6 says, "For the Lord gives wisdom. From his mouth come knowledge and understanding." And now their greatest fear has come true. Someone outside their control holds what they spent lifetimes trying to protect. How is it that despite their efforts to contain the truth, you, someone they never expected, hold the very knowledge they tried to suppress? Why does their control fail in the face of someone like you? No matter what they do, no matter how they try to reclaim it, they will never take it from you. They cannot stop what has already been given to you. They built their world on control, on wealth, on manipulation, on fear. They believed that everyone has a price, that some would betray for power, some would bow for comfort, and some would break under pressure. But then they met you, and suddenly their entire system failed. Why does your power remain untouched by their manipulation? How is it that they tried to dangle riches, luxury, and status in front of you, hoping you would trade your truth for their illusion, yet you remained steadfast? Luke 12:15 tells us, "Then he said to them, 'Watch out, be on your guard against all kinds of greed. Life does not consist in an abundance of possessions.' You never moved, because what you hold, the truth, is priceless." They tried to bribe you with comfort, hoping you would settle into silence, abandon your purpose, and accept their fabricated reality. But you never needed their world to survive. You are immune to their tactics because you were built for this. When manipulation failed, they turned to fear. They whispered threats, hoping to shake you. They sent people to test your resolve, to try and weaken you. They tried to isolate you, to make you feel alone, to make you believe that standing in truth would cost you everything. Isaiah 41:10 says, "So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." You were built for this. You do not fear exile, slander, or being outnumbered. You don't fear the darkness they try to cast, because the power that guides you is far greater than anything they can throw at you. They thought they could silence you by stripping away your support, by making you doubt yourself, by convincing the world that you were the problem. But every time they tried to bury you, you rose stronger. Why do you think their attempts to suppress you have only made you more powerful? Why does the harder they push, the stronger you become? Romans 8:31 reminds us, "If God is for us, who can be against us?" Their system only works on those who need something from them. But you walk with something greater. You never needed their approval. You never needed their validation. You never needed their permission to exist. And that is why they fear you. Think about Nelson Mandela, who, after spending years in prison, emerged with an unshakable spirit, ready to lead a nation to freedom. The apartheid regime tried to break him, to silence him, but he never allowed their threats or imprisonment to steal his truth. What gave him the power to withstand everything they threw at him? It was his unwavering commitment to a truth that no one could take away. Matthew 5:10 says, "Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." Mandela was untouchable, not because he was invincible, but because his spirit was aligned with something far greater than any system of oppression. Then look at Maya Angelou, who, despite facing abuse and hardship, found her voice and used it to change the world. She didn't need anyone's validation or permission to speak her truth. Her words, like yours, were untouchable. She became a beacon of hope and change, unaffected by the forces that sought to silence her. Proverbs 31:25 says, "She is clothed with strength and dignity. She can laugh at the days to come." Maya Angelou walked with a strength that came from within, just as you do. And let's reflect on the example of Malala Yousafzai, whose voice for education and equality could not be silenced even after being targeted by violence. Her courage was not born from the comforts of wealth or security. It came from a divine purpose that was greater than anything they could threaten. She too stands untouchable because she walks with the power of truth. Chosen ones, this is why they fear you. You are untouchable, not because they haven't tried, but because nothing they do will ever work. They never expected to meet someone immune to their tactics. They never prepared for a force they couldn't control. And now, it's too late. Now they know. You are the one thing they cannot stop. How long before they realize that their attempts to suppress the truth are futile? How long before they see that no force on earth can undo what is already in motion? The truth you carry cannot be contained, and now neither can you. Chosen ones, they spent lifetimes crafting barriers, barriers of deception, barriers of distraction, barriers of fear. They told the world that certain knowledge was forbidden, that asking the wrong questions would lead to madness, and that stepping beyond their boundaries would destroy you. For a time, it worked. They buried the truth so deep that few would ever dare to dig. They controlled education, history, and religion, shaping reality itself to ensure no one would ever see through the illusion. But then you came along. Everything they built started to crack. You didn't stop at the walls they put in place. You walked straight through them. John 8:32 says, "Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." But why do you think the truth came so easily to you, chosen ones? Why did it break through their carefully constructed barriers? While others hesitated, you kept going. While others doubted, you trusted what you knew. Why is it that you were able to move forward when everything around you seemed designed to make you doubt? What made you different? Isaiah 55:11 reminds us, "So is my word that goes out from my mouth. It will not return to me empty, but will accomplish what I desire and achieve the purpose for which I sent it." Do you ever wonder if the purpose you've been given is part of a larger divine plan? The truth you carry cannot be denied, and no amount of manipulation could change that. When you found what was hidden, you didn't keep it to yourself. You spoke, you revealed, and you shattered their illusions in ways they never prepared for. How did you manage to expose the lies they thought would remain buried? What gave you the strength to speak when they tried so hard to suppress your voice? Ephesians 5:13 says, "But everything exposed by the light becomes visible, and everything that is illuminated becomes a light." You stepped into the light, and the truth was made clear to all who could see it. They tried to gaslight you, to distract you, and to turn others against you, but nothing worked. You remained unshaken. Why? Why were you able to stand firm when others fell victim to their tricks? Because unlike them, you have nothing to lose. You don't cling to their power. You don't need their approval. You don't fear their judgment. And that is why their frustration has turned into panic, because you were never supposed to make it this far. And now, there's nothing they can do to stop you. Consider the example of Greta Thunberg, a young climate activist who, despite her age and being a newcomer to the political stage, became a global voice for environmental change. Despite facing criticism and mockery, she remained steadfast in her mission, standing firm in her truth about the environment and the urgent need for action. What gave her the power to stand against such overwhelming forces? Her clarity and commitment to a cause much bigger than herself. Then think of Ellen DeGeneres, who, despite facing backlash from the entertainment industry, stood up for her values and came out as a lesbian on national television in 1997. She didn't let the fear of rejection or losing her career stop her from living her truth. What gave her the courage to expose the truths about herself, even when it cost her professionally? Proverbs 31:25 says, "She is clothed with strength and dignity. She can laugh at the days to come." Ellen's strength to be open and authentic came from a deep belief in who she was, just like the truth you carry. Lastly, think of Malcolm X, whose life and words challenged the status quo in America during the Civil Rights Movement. As a man who started with little power, he became one of the most influential voices advocating for the rights and dignity of Black Americans. What gave him the power to defy the systems of control around him and speak so forcefully against oppression? Psalm 23:4 says, "Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me." Malcolm X's unwavering commitment to justice came from a higher truth, just as yours does. My friend, more and more chosen ones are waking up. More and more people are breaking free from the illusion. More and more hidden truths are being revealed at a pace they can no longer control. They can't control this, and that's why they're panicking. They see it happening in real time. The old barriers no longer work. Their distractions have lost power, and their manipulation tactics no longer fool anyone. Truth spreads like wildfire when it's time, and this is the time. You feel it, don't you? The shift, the cracks in the illusion, the undeniable sense that something massive is unraveling, and they feel it too. For centuries, they ensured the masses never connected the dots, never put the puzzle together, and never realized who they truly were. But now it's too late. The system they built is collapsing under the weight of truth, and they can't stop it. They can't slow it down. They can't undo what has already been set in motion. Why do you think everything is shifting now? What makes this moment different from all the times they've tried to maintain control? The system they relied on is no longer working. The truth is coming out, and they know it. Why does this scare them so much? It's because the more people see through their illusion, the weaker their system becomes. They wanted to track you, label you, categorize and contain you, but you move too fluidly for their systems. You see through their illusions, yet never get caught in them. How do you manage to slip through their grasp every time? What is it about you that makes you untouchable? You walk through their structures, yet remain untouched. You expose their deception, yet they can't touch you, and that drives them insane. Why does your presence alone create such chaos in their carefully constructed world? You're a force they cannot control. They built entire frameworks to keep people in line, algorithms to control narratives, institutions to suppress independent thought, and networks to monitor every move. But you navigate their system like a ghost. You speak truth, but don't fall into their traps. You awaken others, but never make yourself a target. You disrupt their agenda without ever stepping into their grasp. What do you think it is about you that allows you to move through all their control undetected? You've become a symbol of freedom to those around you, but why does it seem like they can't stop you? This is what they fear most. Not just that you know, but that they can't stop you from knowing. They were prepared for rebellion, opposition, and resistance. But you don't fight them head on. You don't storm their gates. You walk right through them. Why do you think they can't hold you back? You don't engage in the same way they expect. You don't break their system. You make it irrelevant. Their control only works if people engage with it, if people fear it, if people believe in its authority. But you don't acknowledge their authority. You expose truth without needing permission. You unlock knowledge without seeking access. What does that mean about your role in this battle for truth? You exist beyond their control, and that is why you thrive. While they desperately cling to power, you move freely. They built a system designed to keep you in check, but you are living proof that their control is slipping, and there is nothing they can do to stop it. Do you feel it now? Their desperation. How long before they realize they no longer have the power they thought they held? You are the shift, the disruption, and the truth they can no longer deny. As we continue to walk in truth and embrace the journey that lies ahead, it's important to take a moment to reflect on all that we've uncovered today. That's all for today, dear Father. I pray for the growth of my faith. Help me trust you even when physical evidence is lacking. Let me believe in your perpetual presence, knowing you will never harm me. I understand that your thoughts for me are thoughts of prosperity and not harm, to give me a good future. Thank you, gracious and eternal Father, for always listening to my voice. I offer up this prayer to you in the name of Jesus. Amen. Thank you, Jesus, for your love and provision. I am grateful for your presence in my life and the abundance you bring. If this message resonated with you today, I encourage you to like, subscribe, and share it with others who may need to hear this powerful truth. If you feel moved, please consider donating through the Super Thanks button, as your support is deeply appreciated. But whether you choose to donate or not, your presence and engagement means so much to me. Thank you for being here and for being part of this incredible journey. Remember, the road you walk is one filled with purpose and destiny. As you continue embracing the path laid before you, know that you are not alone. Your spiritual growth and strength are what the world needs most. Keep shining brightly, trusting in the process, and stepping forward with courage. I send my blessings to all of you. May peace, love, and divine guidance fill your hearts as you move through each day. Stay strong in your faith and keep walking towards your destiny. See you next time. Blessings to all the beautiful souls.